Greetings. Sietar USA is proud to announce our 2016 annual conference this November 9th through the 12th in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where our theme this year is Intercultural Stories of Disconnection, Insights into the Polarization of People and Places. Many of you might be saying, why Tulsa? Well, as you know, for years, Sietar USA has enjoyed having our conferences on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and in the middle of the country, but we've never had a chance to come to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're excited to be able to bring this conference to the middle of the United States. Tulsa is centrally located, and so it gives us a unique perspective of what it means to be in the heartland of the United States. I like to joke and say that Tulsa tends to be a bit of a third culture state. It seems to have that southern hospitality with a little bit of the Midwestern sensibility, and so it conjures all of those wonderful emotions that we may get from being in a major metropolitan area in the Midwest, but we also get that sense of down-home, welcoming feeling of the South. And so Tulsa is a perfect opportunity for us to be able to come together as a family and enjoy all that is unique about this city. And frankly, Oklahoma, it's okay. Oklahoma provides us with a unique opportunity to be able to bring in the Native American voice that is often missing from our Sietar USA conferences. There is a rich history in Oklahoma with the Native American population due to the Trail of Tears. Oklahoma is the end spot of the Trail of Tears, which began in 1830 through 1839 as a result of the Indian Removal Act, where the 5 civilized nations were brought from the East Coast on the Trail of Tears, a walking trail, all the way to Oklahoma. It's called the Trail of Tears because of the fact that there were thousands of lives lost on the trail due to extreme conditions of weather, of terrain, etc. And it is recognized in the great loss within the Native American community by reflecting the name Trail of Tears. Tulsa is also the location of one of the wealthiest African American communities to have ever existed in the United States, so much so that it was coined Black Wall Street. During this time, there were numerous African American owned businesses that existed throughout this community where great wealth was attained shortly thereafter the oil rush in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So in this community that was all African American, they were able to establish 600 businesses, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 30 grocery stores, 2 movie theaters, 6 private airplanes. All of these things were created, developed, owned by African Americans just 56 years after slavery. They were able to attain great wealth and establish themselves as a leader in the United States. Unfortunately, all that wealth was just a little too much for the country during that time, and in 1921 there was a race riot that broke out and destroyed this community. Some call it a race riot, others call it a race massacre. Wall Street, the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was able to rebuild, but unfortunately once more it was taken down and destroyed as a result of what they're calling urban renewal. There are a few buildings that still exist in the Greenwood Historic District, and we hope as an organization to stop by and visit that area. In 1889, white American and European settlers hungry for the American dream and drunk on manifest destiny took advantage of the United States government invitation to settle lands in the Indian territories. They were allowed the opportunity to develop land in an area that was considered unoccupied in order to till that land and make it better. And if they were able to, then they would be able to create a homestead in this area. This is something that has led to the idea of the boomers or the Sooners in Oklahoma. Because of the fact that this land grab needed to be equal, so they were going to start it by the shooting of a gun and the pounding or the release of a cannon. What happened was there were a number of people who had already took place in areas that they claimed as their own long before the gun went off. This was what created this idea of the Sooners. So the Oklahoma area was born as a result of the land run, and there were a few people who cheated the system and set up shop before the gun went off. Oklahoma is also known for a really long time as the oil capital of the world, as you can see reflected in our golden driller. It was an era that created great wealth in Tulsa specifically, and there are still numerous results of the wealth that was created as during this golden time of oil in Tulsa, Oklahoma specifically. And you will still be able to see mansions to this very day. This mansion here was built and created by the owner of Phillips 66, Wade Phillips. This is now the Phillips Art Museum. Numerous homes of this size and of this magnitude still are in existence all over Tulsa as a result of this incredible oil boom. Tulsa is also an amazing community for Art Deco. From what I understand, it is the one city in the United States that has the largest collection of Art Deco buildings remaining. When many of our major metropolitan cities started knocking these buildings down because they were outdated and old, Tulsa held on to them. And you will see the greatest collection of some fantastic Art Deco buildings here in Tulsa. Of course, Tulsa is just one of the stops on America's highway, the Route 66. We invite you to check out this bridge as well as the myriad of stops all throughout Tulsa that are labeled with this historic Route 66 site to be able to take in some of what it must have been like during the highway's heyday. Tulsa also has an active arts and entertainment community. This is the Tulsa Performing Arts Center, where Broadway productions come, as well as local community theaters are able to put on their productions in this building. There's a large cultural and hipster boom in order to retain the young professionals that are from Tulsa so that they don't leave to move on to additional cities. They're fantastic dining. There's wonderful little clubs and theaters in order to entertain and retain our young professionals. There's also an outdoor facility for concerts and yoga and Tai Chi that happens right downtown at a place called Guthrie Green. So some of you might still be saying, why Tulsa? Well, I can say because it's the right time to be in Tulsa. We have an incredibly growing intercultural and diversity community. There is a large number of nonprofit agencies that are working towards social justice and humanitarian efforts, as well as there being the Tulsa Chamber of Commerce and their Mosaic community that's working towards bringing a more diverse workforce into Tulsa and retaining them. Tulsa is unique because we can talk about the people that have helped to build this area, the European settlers, the Native American communities, the African American communities, the places that are in honor of those, and unfortunately the polarizations that exist when we bring these communities together. There's a lot of energy around the conversation of reconciliation for these polarizations, and we are honoring and recognizing globalization and migration and its impact in Middle America. These are great conversations that we're having right here in Tulsa. And we believe that there is a hunger for tools and skills to strengthen the skills of the people who live here in Tulsa. And so what better way to do that than to bring Sietar USA into this community in order to provide them with that? So it's a unique opportunity for Sietar to bring something to the Tulsa community, but then also for Tulsa community to bring something into the Sietar family and the community. So I hope you're still not saying, why Tulsa? Because my answer to that would be, why not? We hope that you'll join us November 9th through the 12th in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we ask that you keep your eyes on our webpage, www.sietarusa.org. And we hope to see you in November.